Extra seasoning to your plate can cost you. A new study finds adding salt to our foods can actually increase the risk of stomach cancer.
Yeah, a lot of people's ears perking up on this one because a lot of Americans are using too much salt. So here to explain these findings is our 9 News medical expert, Dr. Payal Kohli. Dr. Kohli, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Explain to us what this very large study found between adding salt to your food and stomach cancer.
So nearly 500,000 UK adults, and what it found is that if people regularly added salt to their food, it was associated with a 41% higher risk of gastric cancer. Now note that I said associated and not caused, because we don't know if it's the salt itself that's actually causing that risk, or if it's just a marker of other kind of bad lifestyle habits that you might be doing if you're adding a lot of salt to your food.
That's a large study, though, a lot of people. Now, this is specifically table salt, right? Is it different for like Himalayan or pink salt?
So different types of salts can have different sodium chloride content, but we know that our body needs some degree of sodium, but too much sodium can actually be poisonous to our blood vessels, to our tissues. And the problem is the people that end up adding a lot of salt, they also maybe do other bad things, like we saw more smoking in this study for the people that use more salt. We saw more eating processed foods, living in disadvantaged neighborhoods, and so the types of foods that they might be eating might be more processed foods or more foods that are not fresh.
Okay, I still need you to explain this biological explanation between the sodium intake and this risk of cancer.
Yep, so you eat the sodium, it irritates the lining of your stomach, which creates inflammation. We know inflammation is directly linked to the risk of cancer. It can also increase your risk of an infection called H. pylori, so we've seen that association as well, which is a bacteria that causes stomach cancer. So that's a possible link. Sodium-containing foods can also contain nitrites. So think about smoked fish, for example. Right? And that can also, be carcinogenic to the lining of the stomach. And then the gut microbiome. So the bacteria that lives in our gut can actually get disrupted when we eat too much salt or too much sodium, and that can increase our risk of cancer as well.
Dr. Kohli was saying bad Corey, because I say I salt everything, including my pizza. I really do. So how much sodium should people be having on a daily basis?
So Corey, you're one of the 90% of Americans that are consuming too much sodium. In fact, most of us are eating twice as much sodium as we should be eating. And pizza, breads, pasta, drinks, everything already has sodium. So the fact that you're adding sodium on top of it is just a setup for heart disease, stroke, kidney disease, headaches, other problems. So we should be having just over half a teaspoon of sodium in our entire 24 hours. And so that's 1,500 milligrams. Most of us consume about 3,400 milligrams instead. And so we really need to be mindful. What I like to tell my patients, because we don't even realize the sources of sodium we're getting. Get an app on your phone. Take one day when you're eating kind of normal, what you usually eat, and count up how much sodium you're eating. I bet one day you go to a restaurant, you'll already cross your entire daily limit just in that one meal.
Oh my goodness, wow. Okay, so Corey actually said something though that I think a lot of people use as their excuse to salt their foods, my partner included, that they have low sodium levels. You're saying this is not even linked to that for the most part.
No, so sometimes we have little old ladies who have what we call a tea and toast diet. They don't take in enough electrolytes, and they can have, low sodium levels in their blood due to very little salt intake. But that's not the case for Miss Corey over here, who's eating her pizza. And so her low sodium levels are unlikely to be related to her dietary intake of salt. It's just how our body's processing salt. But adding salt is rarely recommended. Once in a rare while, we'll do it for people who run low blood pressures or what have you. But if you want to flavor your food, Corey, potassium chloride, which is like a no salt or a salt substitute for most people who don't have kidney disease or other sorts of health problems. It's a really good alternative because it doesn't have sodium. It helps you excrete sodium instead, and it actually adds that little bit of a salt.
And you can find that in grocery stores?
You can find it in grocery stores. And again, check with your doctor if you have any underlying medical problems about using potassium. But what I like to do after I go out to eat the next day, I'll potassium load. So I'll eat bananas or coconut water or avocados to help my body get rid of all that extra sodium.
Mrs. Dash it is. Here I come. Dr. Kohli, thank you so much. And you can find all of Dr. Kohli's appearances at 9news.com/Dr. Kohli.